Three Japanese Tales. Better late than early. The staff of the Council of State used to hold what were called morning sessions, which took place before dawn. The participants would arrive carrying torches. Once, a certain secretary arrived after the controller, who outranked him. He had already taken his seat, and the secretary had been afraid this might happen, and his fears were confirmed when he got there and saw the controller's carriage by the gate. Rushing to the council building, he found the controller's servants waiting for their master by the wall. Next, he ran in panic to the door of the East Council chamber, and he peered cautiously into the hall. The lamps were out. No one was there. This was a surprise. Back he went to the controller's servants, who could only tell him that their master was already inside. The secretary called a guard with a torch and had him light the way into the chamber. As the controller's seat, there was only a bloody head. The hair was scattered far and wide. Nearby lay a ceremonial baton, a bloody pair of shoes, and a fan on which the controller had written the procedure for the meeting. The matting was soaked with blood, and there was nothing else. The horror of the scene can scarcely be described. At dawn, an excited crowd gathered while the controller's servants left with their master's head. After that, the morning sessions were no longer held in the East Chamber, but were shifted to the West. The Ravenous Storehouse. The great lover, Owara no Nahara, made sure he courted every woman known to be a beauty, whether palace lady or common gentleman's daughter. He became especially fascinated with one girl who was supposed to be lovely beyond imagining, but unfortunately her parents had their hearts set on getting her a far more exalted husband than him. He was not even in the running. Somehow, though, he managed to persuade her to run off with him. But now that he had her, where was he going to hide her? Finally, he remembered an abandoned, tumble-down mansion in the mountains. The door on the big storehouse was lying broken on the ground, but since the house no longer had a floor, he spread a mat in the storehouse after all. He had just laid down on it with the girl when lightning flashed, and there was a crash of thunder. Drawing his sword, he got the girl behind him and kept watch through the storm. At dawn, it finally passed. Puzzled to hear no sound at all from the girl, Nahara glanced behind him, and she was gone. Nothing was left of her but her clothes and her hair. He fled, terrified. Later, he learned that the storehouse was known to eat people. It was not the thunder that had gotten her after all, but the demon in the building. It had just gone to show that you shouldn't go near a place you don't know, and as for spending the night there, you shouldn't even consider it. The Grisly Box. Kinosuke lived on an estate the regent owned in Mino province. When the regent sent a gentleman to look after the estate, this gentleman came to rely on Suke above all, and it was Suke who was sent to serve the regent during a lengthy period when the regent was on duty at the palace. Finally, Suke got leave to return home. On the way, he naturally crossed the bridge at Seta, where the river flows from the southern end of Lake Biwa. A woman was standing there on the bridge, holding her skirt in her hand, and Soke, as he passed, thought she looked rather odd, and just then she hailed him. "Where are you going?" she asked. He dismounted rather politely. "I'm on my way to Mino," he replied. "I'd appreciate it so much if you'd take something there for me." "Would you do that?" "Well, certainly," he said. "Oh, thank you," cried the woman, drawing a silk-wrapped box from the inner fold of her robe. "Please take this to Morikoshi village in Mino. You'll find a woman at the western end of the bridge there. Please give this box to her." By now, Suke was uncomfortable about this whole thing. Not that the request itself was rather difficult, but the woman was awfully strange. In the end, though, he found it impossible and impolite to refuse. "What's the name of this woman?" he asked. "Where does she live? And where should I look for her if she isn't on the bridge?" And who should I tell her this is from? Oh, don't worry, the woman answered. Just go to the end of the bridge. She'll come. You can count on that. All you need to do is wait. I have to tell you, though, you must absolutely not open this box. Meanwhile, Soke's servants, who saw no woman, could not imagine what their master was doing. Suke took the box, and the woman walked off. He rode on to Mino, but forgot all about the box until he was home, even though he actually crossed the bridge where he was supposed to make the delivery. This slip bothered him a good deal when he noticed it, and he decided to make a special trip back to the bridge. But since he could not go right away, he hung the box for the time being high up in an outbuilding. Unfortunately, his wife was a jealous woman. Spotted him hiding the package. She assumed immediately that it was a present for some mistress, and as soon as he was gone, she took it down and opened it. It was full of gouged out human eyes and severed male members with the hair still on them. Her scream brought Suke running. Remembering with horror that the woman had said about opening the box, he frantically put the lid back on and wrapped the box up again. Then he took it straight to the bridge and waited. Sure enough, a woman appeared. He handed her the package with a short explanation of how he had come by it. This box has been opened and looked into, the woman observed as she took it. No, it hasn't, Suke protested. I assure you. The woman's expression became rather dreadful. You've done a terrible thing, she said, but accepted the box nonetheless. His mission completed, Suke hurried home as quickly as he could. Although ill now, he took to his bed. His wife bitterly regretted ever opening the box, but it was now too late. Shortly after, he died.